Well, thank you very much, Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak on Bill 166, Strengthening Protection for Ontario Consumers Act. I'm very happy to continue debate on this bill that, if passed, would strengthen protections for consumers and bring more fairness to the marketplace. I first, though, Speaker, would like to take the time to thank the Minister of Government and Consumer Services for her tireless work on this file.
Did a good job.
You know, she's been shepherding this this file and championing the protections that exist in this file, and I want to take this opportunity to thank her for the work that she's done. Today, Speaker, I would like to focus on our proposed Ticket Sales Act 2017 that would help deliver on this and put fans first in Ontario. I'm sure, Speaker, as you would and can, and many others can tell stories about some great entertainment shows that you have seen in your communities, or in my case, in my hometown of Ottawa, from great world-class acts, but also great sporting events, like, you know, watching my beloved Ottawa Senators, great hockey team, or as the member from Peterborough just mentioned, we've got the Winter Classic, the NHL Winter Classic, happening in my riding of Ottawa Centre this coming Saturday, Speaker. Now, it's a very important game, Speaker, for the fact that it's celebrating the 100th anniversary of the NHL.
Perfect.
And it's replicating the game that was played 100 years ago between Ottawa and Montreal at the same location where it's going to be played this Saturday outdoors, right next to Aberdeen Pavilion. Of course, our very good Mayor Jim Watson will be there. He's been a great champion, Speaker, of making sure that 2017 in particular is a banner year for City of Ottawa as we celebrate Canada's 150th anniversary of joining the Confederation, and of course Ontario is very much part and parcel of that. And so we've had great celebrations. We just had the Grey Cup between the Toronto Argonauts, which won the Grey Cup, go Argos, and Calgary Stampeders, and which, you know, also highlights a great football team that we have in Ottawa Red Blacks, which were the champions last year of the Grey Cup. It just goes to show, Speaker, that from a quality of life perspective, how important these teams are, how important these entertainment shows are, whether they are happening at TD Place in my riding of Ottawa Centre, or are they taking place at the National Arts Centre, which is also located in my community of Ottawa Centre, or happening at the Canadian Tire Centre, where Ottawa Senators play. All these venues are important venues, and what we want to make sure, Speaker, that families, members of our communities, have an opportunity to be able to watch these sporting events, like the Ottawa 67s, which also will be playing outdoors on Sunday, actually, and I'm taking Rafi, my son, to that game. It's going to be great. He'll love it. Outdoors. It's going to be cold, but we'll wear our snow pants and all that good stuff. But it's going to it allows the opportunity to really make sure that that families have an opportunity to enjoy. And, Speaker, that's why this legislation is important, because what we need is to level the playing field when it comes to buying and selling event tickets in Ontario. Because by now we have all heard about the challenges the fans are up against when they go to buy tickets to see their favorite show, team, or musical act. It was fascinating, Speaker, working on this file, because, you know, of course you hear stories anecdotally. Your friends tell you the challenges when they get online and, you know, a concert they want to watch of a favorite band or artist, and, you know, they log on and they, you know, keep trying to refresh their computer or their screen so they can have an opportunity to buy those tickets, and all the frustration that goes along with it. But we also then, as we were consulting on this proposed bill, we heard direct stories from Ontarians. We did an online survey, and I'm going by memory, but I think over 30,000 people participated in that survey, and we got responses. It was overwhelming. It was probably the largest survey ever done by Government of Ontario, and it showed that there was this great need and demand by people to actually, for the government to address this particular issue, and the consultations that I've had working along with the MPP from Kingston and the Islands. And a big shout out to her for the work she did on her private members bill that is part of Bill 166, was tremendous in that respect. And Speaker, these challenges that we heard about all start with ticket bots. Although online ticket sellers have put measures in place to limit the number of tickets that any one person can buy, people have developed software to get around these security features and cheat the system. These bots can buy hundreds of tickets at once the moment they go on sale, while regular fans wait in line and hope to get what's left. This is a clear source of unfairness in the ticket industry currently, as people are getting around the rules, cheating the system, and being rewarded handsomely for it, because there's a lot of money involved and a lot of money get made through that system. And that's where, Speaker, the ticket resale market comes in. In many ways, the creation of accessible, user-friendly online ticket resale sites has been a great thing for fans. It gives people a place to turn when tickets are sold out from a primary seller, or when they need to sell tickets that they no longer need. But at the same time, these platforms have allowed a predatory ticket market to grow and flourish. Once resellers have used bots to unfairly scoop up hundreds of tickets, online ticket reselling platforms give them an easy way to sell the tickets off at whatever price they choose. For major events, you might see tickets posted on resale sites for up to 4 or 5 times the original price. And again, we know the stories. We've heard those stories from our constituents, from our loved ones, family, and friends. Now, Speaker, it is important to draw a distinction here between ticket pricing in the primary market and the resale market. I believe that artists, venues, and promoters should be allowed to price tickets as they see fit. Ontario's entertainment industry creates jobs, contributes greatly to our economy, and promotes tourism. And one of our objectives with this legislation is to help make sure that this important industry continues to thrive. The people who have a hand in putting on these events work hard, and they deserve to be fairly compensated for that work. What, Speaker, I have a real problem with is when we see unreasonable markups in the resale market. These markups hurt fans and artists alike. But these are not the only challenges that fans encounter when they try to buy tickets. When they do resort to the ticket resale market, they're often confronted with a process that can be convoluted and confusing. Important information is not always available or apparent upfront. Key information is often missing, such as the original value and exact location of the tickets they're purchasing, whether the price is listed in Canadian or American dollars, or whether the listed price of the ticket includes fees and taxes. You see this all the time. These are things that people deserve to know before spending their hard-earned money on a ticket or bunch of tickets. Speaker, with all of these obstacles standing between fans and their tickets, there is a real feeling that the system is rigged. I heard that again and again. The word rigged comes up in conversation often when we were consulting. We saw that in action last year during the Tragically Hip's Man Machine Poem National Tour. As we were all learning at the time, this wasn't just another tour. It was a favorite tour for a group that had, over the past several decades, become a Canadian institution. And most importantly, Speaker, than that, it was a tribute to Gord Downie, who has passed away. It was a huge loss for Ontario and for Canada. But it was an opportunity for people to really enjoy the talent, the voice, the values of Gord Downie, and this was an opportunity for for them to say thank you. But many did not have an opportunity to do so because what took place in the marketplace, which made it all that such more difficult to Speaker to swallow when the show sold out within seconds and tickets began turning up on the resale market at outrageous markups. And we heard the stories, $5,000 at times, where people were charging for those tickets. Some people were able to spend that extra money to get their seats, but for many others, this was the difference between being able to see the band they love for the last time or not. Speaker, I think we all recall a lot of communities doing street parties and to watch the shows live, especially the one that was the last show that was broadcast on CBC in my community in Ottawa Centre, in Parkdale Park in Hintonburg. The community organized to put a screen up. The park was full. It was amazing. It was a beautiful night. People brought their blankets and lawn chairs and sat and watched that live performance, which was quite moving. Speaker, that feeling of unfairness, the feeling that the system is rigged, is completely understandable and even justified. And the bottom line is that the current rules around buying and selling tickets online are simply not doing enough for fans. We want to change that. But before going into what this proposed legislation would do, I would like to take the time to thank my colleague, the member from Kingston and the Islands, as I said earlier, who took the initial action after the Tragically Hip tour. As a representative for the Hip's hometown of Kingston, that issue hit especially close to home for her constituents. Her tireless work on this issue has led to the legislation that is before us today. And I really want to thank the member because she took the time not only to do her research, to talk to the industry, artists and others alike in crafting the legislation, but she also engaged me in the file from the get-go, and it really captured me because I was sort of scratching my head too to see what can or cannot be done. And I really want to thank the member because it's that collaboration that results in something very substantial and transformative, as we've seen in Bill 166. In fact, the rules that we are putting together really makes Ontario a leader, I would say globally, because we're all major jurisdictions sort of grappling with these issues, and we here in Ontario are taking the lead and showing action. Speaker, the proposed Strengthening Protection for Ontario Consumers Act 2017 would introduce tough new rules to fight unfairness in the ticket marketplace. Our bill would create a new Ticket Sales Act 2017, which would modernize Ontario's ticket laws in 4 ways. First, Speaker, if passed, this legislation would take a major step towards ending unfair pricing in the ticket resale marketplace by capping the markup of tickets in the resale marketplace at 50% above face value. This would have several effects. In addition to making tickets on the resale market more affordable for fans, we believe that a markup cap could actually stamp the use of bots and other methods of selling large number of tickets. It is clear that people are buying tickets for the sole purpose of reselling them at an excessively inflated price in many instances. Limiting the markup of tickets on the resale market would effectively decrease their profit margins and reduce the incentive to engage in these activities in the first place. It's going to act as a huge disincentive, Speaker, by virtue of the fact that we're putting this cap on markups on resale tickets. Speaker, we hope that this will help keep more tickets available on the primary market for fans to buy at face value. The second part of our plan would aim to confront the issue of ticket bots head-on. If passed, this bill would put a complete ban on ticket bots. When we consulted the public earlier this year, we heard an overwhelming consensus. 89% of respondents said ticket bots should be illegal. And I agree with them, Speaker. Unlike ticket resale sites, which Ontarians regularly use for perfectly valid reasons, there is no justification for using ticket bots. They exist solely to cheat the system. Under our proposed changes, it would be illegal to buy ticket bots and sell ticket bots or sell tickets that were purchased using the bots. Now, one concern that often comes up when we look to regulate technology like this is that the technology will simply evolve to get around the rules that we have put in place. That's why, Speaker, we have taken taken care to draft legislation that is technology neutral or agnostic when it comes to technology, so that we can address the fundamental structural issues as opposed to letting technology get around some of the solutions that we're putting in place. This means, Speaker, that instead of targeting bots as we understand them now, we have taken an outcome-focused definition of what we are banning rather than fixating on the bots themselves. In the future, Speaker, this bill would prohibit any technology that tries to get around security measures or other restrictions that are working to increase fairness in the ticket buying process. Whether that is a bot, as we know it today, or something entirely different that we have not seen yet, this bill would give police the authority to address it. Speaker, this is a very important point around ticket bots, because you will find among Ontarians and all the stakeholders in this industry unanimity or a consensus in banning ticket bots. But then people don't know how to go around doing that. And we often heard, yeah, we agree and we support you ban ticket bots. But how effectively can you do that? I mean, it's technology that continues to evolve. And that is why the first thing that we're doing, which is putting a cap on the resale price in the secondary market or in the resale market, is very important, because what it is doing, it's taking financial incentive away. It's the combination of the two that really sort of makes these measures that much more effective. And that's why, Speaker, we really strongly think that they go hand in hand. Speaker, third, we are proposing measures to address the lack of transparency in the resale market and to bring some additional transparency to the primary market as well. Under our proposed legislation, all ticket sellers, whether they are in the primary or resale market, would be required to disclose the all-in price of a ticket up front. So you know exactly what you're paying, everything included. In addition, Speaker, all ticket offers would have to clearly indicate what currency the prices of the ticket is listed on. So you're not find yourself in a situation where you think you're paying in Canadian dollars, but in fact you paid American dollars, and now your bill is much higher because of the currency exchange. Speaker, that means no more hidden fees and no more surprise currency exchanges. In addition, the bill would require primary sellers to print the face value of the ticket on the physical ticket. Again, you know what the real price of the ticket is, and require that ticket resellers and online resale platforms disclose the original face value of the ticket. Speaker, it would also require that all ticket sellers to disclose the precise seat location of the tickets being purchased. This is a meaningful change that will help fans make more informed decisions when they are dealing with ticket sellers and resale platforms. You just want to be able to, when you buy a ticket and spend a lot of money, to know exactly where you're sitting, you know exactly what you're paying. You're paying in Canadian dollars or US dollars. And this way, Speaker, you can make that informed decision whether you want to spend that money or not, as opposed to what happens now, as we all know, is that you see a ticket price, and then by the time that you are ready to check out, to pay, remember the clock is running on the side, so you're kind of getting all nervous because you finally found those 2 or 3 or 4 tickets that you wanted to purchase, and you may lose that. You see all these additional charges that go on. And then at times it almost doubles the ticket price, which is extremely frustrating. And you're at a point where you say, oh, well, shucks, I'll just go ahead and just buy these tickets. And we're saying that's not right, that is unfair, that's not transparent. Consumer needs to know exactly what they're paying, and they should have all that all-in price in the appropriate currency indicated, so that the only thing that you need to figure out is the HST that you have to pay, which we're all accustomed to, sort of adding that 13%. Speaker, there are also new measures proposed in this bill that would apply specifically to the primary or resale market. First, the primary market. If passed, this bill would require primary ticket sellers to disclose the distribution method of all the tickets to the event that they will be selling, even those that are not made available to the general public. This means that pre-sales for members of fan clubs or reward programs, for example, would be more visible to fans who are looking to beat the resellers and buy their tickets early. We're also proposing new transparency rules for the resale market. In cases where a ticket is being sold by a commercial reseller, that reseller's name, location, and contact information would also have to be disclosed. Finally, Speaker, our bill takes on the issue of enforcement. In addition to creating a number of new rules and requirements, our changes would help make sure that these measures are actually being followed. To ensure a practical and effective enforcement regime, I have worked closely with my colleague, the Minister of Government and Consumer Services. Her ministry has immense expertise and a stellar track record of protecting consumers in Ontario. If passed, our bill would give the police the authority to enforce provisions related to the illegal sale and use of bots in ticket transactions. The Ministry of Government and Consumer Services would also gain new inspection and investigation powers to help protect Ontarians and to ensure greater transparency when they buy a ticket. Through Consumer Protection Ontario, the ministry could also receive and mediate complaints from consumers and take proactive steps to help ensure that fans in Ontario know their rights and encourage them to buy their tickets in situations where those rights are protected. At that point, Speaker, if the rules are still being violated, the ministry would be able to enforce the law through various new tools, including administrative, monetary penalties, and compliance orders. These options would allow the ministry to evaluate situations and enforce the law as appropriate. Another aspect of our enforcement plan focuses on self-regulation within the industry. Now, the government absolutely needs to be working to enforce the law, but in our consultations with the industry, we saw that ticket sellers also want a legal avenue that they can pursue when individuals or businesses attempt to use their platforms to break the law. This is why we are proposing new private rights of action, which would give ticket businesses the right to sue if they suffer a loss as a result of someone not playing by the new rules. These rights of action would also extend to ticket purchasers, Speaker. So Ontarians who purchase tickets would also have the ability to sue if they suffer losses as a result of illegal activity. In addition, to help make sure that the rules can be enforced, we would require any business selling tickets in Ontario to be incorporated in either Ontario or Canada, or to maintain an address in Ontario. That means that whether or not they are physically located in the province, businesses can more easily be held legally accountable for their actions if they do break the law. As this House is aware, Speaker, following second reading, this bill was referred to the Standing Committee on Social Policy. Several amendments were made to the bill in committee, and I would like to speak briefly to one of them in particular. Speaker, a decision was made to remove the requirement that primary sellers disclose the number of tickets going on sale at the time of general on sale. And I can understand how, on the surface, this may appear strange for a bill dedicated to putting fans first, which is why, admittedly, I struggled with the decision. So I want to explain our thinking behind that amendment, Speaker. We drafted this bill with two clear objectives in mind: to give fans more access and more information. And what we heard across the board is that this section of the bill did not achieve either of those objectives. We heard from small and medium venues, organizations that support local and Canadian music and film festivals, sports venues, and artists, that they all voiced their concerns about this section on the bill. They told the Speaker that tickets for a general on sale do not all go on sale at the same time. It's a dynamic and flexible number, and requiring disclosure at the time of general on sale only captures a snapshot in time and may not accurately reflect the ticket availability. They also told us that providing the information of how many tickets are going to be up for sale would provide an incentive to those using bots to be more clever and try to scoop up bots more strategically. Importantly, Speaker, we're still requiring primary ticket sellers to provide information about venue capacity and pre-sales, which will provide fans a more realistic picture of how many tickets are available for a show. So we heard pretty clear that this section did not meet its intended objective of providing the full picture, more information to fans. But we still had to weigh whether it would increase access to tickets. And what we heard was unanimous, that requiring this disclosure might actually reduce access to tickets, that it might create a disincentive for big acts to travel to smaller and regional markets like Niagara Falls, Windsor, Kingston, Ottawa, Thunder Bay, markets that equally are important where we want to flourish our cultural and artistic enterprise. Speaker, we listen to small and medium film and music venues, artists, the local arts and cultural organizations that help tourism thrive in all corners of our province. And they told us that this section would not give fans the information they need or bring fans any closer to seeing their favorite shows or artists. We introduced new rules for tickets in Ontario with one simple goal: to make it easier for fans to see the artists they love. The section in question would not have helped achieve that, but the bill we're debating today does. This legislation gives fans more information and increases access while keeping Ontario a strong market for entertainment. Finally, Speaker, before I finish, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge everyone who had a role in getting this bill here today. Tens of thousands of Ontarians took the opportunity to have their say on this issue over the past year through our online survey, the most participated in online survey ever for the province at that time, through our fan round table, Speaker, and through letters and emails. I want to say a big thank you to each and every one of them for taking the time and providing us with their feedback and input. We've also seen great cooperation from our partners in the ticketing business and the entertainment industry, which has been very helpful as we develop these new rules. And of course, Speaker, I would like to express my deep appreciation for my colleague, the MPP for Kingston and the Islands. It has been a pleasure working together to develop the legislation before us today with her hard work, thoughtfulness, and cooperation. Speaker, if passed, these measures would make Ontario a world leader in ticket sales regulation. We have taken a sophisticated and multi-pronged approach to combating bad actors in this market and giving consumers the information they need to make informed choices about these purchases. The other pieces of this legislation, the proposed Strengthening Protection of Ontario Consumers Act 2017, aim to protect Ontarians when they make big purchases like travel or buying their first home, Speaker. And while event tickets may be of a different magnitude in terms of cost, I have seen firsthand how close to home this issue hits for many, many people in our province. At the end of the day, Speaker, it is the government's role to protect consumers, to step in when it feels like the system is rigged against them, whether they are buying a new home or concert tickets. This is a case, Speaker, that we have an opportunity to do just that. If this legislation passes, Speaker, and I hope all members do support this important piece of legislation, I'm confident that consumers will see a real difference in their ticket buying experience. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this bill, and given that we are one day removed from the end of our sitting, I want to take this opportunity to wish all members Happy Hanukkah that just started last night, a very Merry Christmas, and season's greetings and best of the new year. I'm sure we're all looking forward to spending more time with our families, with our loved ones, and with our constituents in our communities, and I wish everybody a lovely holidays season and look forward to continue working with them in the new year. Thank you very much, Speaker.